life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for real. Straight to the top, working hard every day just to leave out that tower.
Welcome back to another episode of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte and the Pharaoh, only seen here live from Village Connection Radio, live from Rockstar Studios every Thursday from 8:05 to 9 p.m. At the board is none other than the owner of this illustrious station, Mr. Jim Savali.
What up?
And to the right is none other than super podcaster.
Podcast extraordinaire.
Podcast extraordinaire and wrestling aficionado. Ooh. Am I saying that right? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm terrible with words.
But
I'll take it.
I want to welcome Mr. Larry Mormon. Thank you, sir, for joining the show today. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure being here.
Yeah, always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
So, Phil, sir, what's been going on with you, my friend?
Everything. Traveling the world. No, not really. I just got, I got my podcast going.
Right.
My little network, if you will, talking more wrestling, more of the same. That's all MOHR, spin on my last name. And I'll throw out the other ones because otherwise my co-host will ream me. The Retro Gamers podcast, the Yin and Yang podcast, and the Better Half podcast. Besides podcasting, just been relaxing, watching some wrestling. I went to Philadelphia a few weeks ago.
Right.
Finally, I can check off my wrestling bucket list that I've attended the ECW arena for the first time in my life. Now the 2300.
Now, what was that like?
That was, for me, it was awesome, and it was about 110 degrees in the building.
Really?
It was sweltering.
Worth every minute of it?
Totally. It was the Evolve 10th anniversary show. Kind of co-branded with NXT because a lot of the NXT guys were there.
Right.
But just being that arena it's almost like going to the Garden just for independent wrestling. And I've always wanted to be there, finally made it, and then out of nowhere, the lights go out, lights come back on, and Paul Heyman's in the middle of the ring. I thought I would never see Paul Heyman in the ECW arena in my life. I won't, you know what? I am not afraid to admit this. That's quick.
Well, you're going to get a lot of it. You want to take this real quick? Want to get cut off for 2 seconds? Let's take it. Let's see how it's going to go.
Why not?
Thank you for calling Monte the Pharaoh. Please speak clearly.
Hello.
Go ahead. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Vinny from the Bronx. How are you?
How you doing, Vinny from the Bronx? Do you know Vinny from the Bronx, Larry?
What happened to the Pharaoh?
What happened to the Pharaoh?
What happened to the Pharaoh?
Have you been following the show, Vinny from the Bronx?
First time I saw him like 3 weeks. I was busy. I got some shit going on,
Okay. So the Pharaoh has left the show to go on to bigger ventures.
What's the matter with that guy?
I promise I'll do a good job today.
No, Jimmy just wasn't happy doing the show anymore, and we had been talking about it for a couple of months, and he just wanted to go and do some other things. He's a pretty popular...
He's a singer,
He's a singer, pretty popular singer. He's got a pretty popular band, which, by the way, you can...
Yeah, he sings polka, right?
What's that?
He's only sing polka?
No, he sings rock music. The name of his band is Wisteria Hall. You could actually buy their songs on YouTube.
Okay. I don't have a computer. My wife does all that. I got to talk to her about it.
All right, so let me ask you, how did you catch the Monte and the Pharaoh show?
Somebody had it on the subway.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. We like to hear that, man.
Wow.
The subway.
Is it probably the best wrestling show you've ever watched?
What's wrestling?
Well, there you go. There's your answer. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you later, Vinny from the Bronx.
All right. Up I go.
What did he say?
Was he related to Jenny from the Block?
Could be.
Man.
So anyway, back to Evolve, my friend.
So Evolve Wrestling, which I've been following for a while. They kind of like the feeder group to NXT now. But when I heard they were in Philly, like literally 2 weeks prior, I booked my hotel, I booked my car rental, and then I was on my way to Philadelphia, and I was just very happy. But again, the heat, it was so unbearably hot, which I was kind of expecting because that arena is notoriously hot.
Right.
But I made it. It was an awesome show. Fantastic. Like the first half was the Evolve guys. So a lot of people you may not know, which is good because you go to an indie show, you never know who you're going to see for the first time. You never know who you're going to see for the last time.
Right.
So that's what's fun. And then they broke out the NXT guys. And overall, fantastic.
Did they have any pre-show meet and greets or things like that?
Oh, well, so they have, you buy in advance the meet and greet. And, of course, all the NXT guys are going to take all the time. Not purposely, but people are going to see them as opposed to Evolve. But they did a meet and greet. I get there. I'm waiting online for like an hour to get in. I'm like, okay. And then someone goes, oh, wait, no, the meet and greet line's over there. The one that's filing into the building. I was like, son of a bitch. I've been waiting out here for an hour.
And now you got to sit behind at the end of the line?
But they didn't have enough time to do the whole meet and greet before the show, but they did come back after the show.
Okay.
Even the wrestlers, like Adam Cole after he wrestled. So it was cool.
Overall experience?
I loved it. Out of a 10, I'll give it a 9. I'll knock the 1 point off for the unbearable heat.
Okay.
And then you see guys who you see at a lot of these shows, like in the audience. So it's pretty cool.
Show's been a little bit hot since the change.
Yeah.
Let's hit it. Let's see who's got it.
All right.
So, welcome to Monte and Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Speak loud and clear. How can I help you, and who are we speaking with?
Hello.
Oh. Hello, John. How are you?
Hello.
Hello?
Goodbye.
That's that one. Anyway, so
Alrighty. Well,
let's the world lost Harley Race today.
yeah, that one hit. That's definitely one of the big names in wrestling. I'm going to put it right up there when I heard Savage died, when I heard Piper passed away. Harley Race, without batting an eye, he is one of the toughest human beings on the planet.
Right.
And, to hear, I think he's had some health issues, I believe. I know he
When I saw him a couple of years ago, he probably was not in the best shape, and I heard it got worse. I mean, it's not like I wasn't expecting it to happen. It's sad, especially for us older folk who, grew up on someone like Harley Race or were young kids. Again, I was never an NWA guy. I always drew the line, just kind of like Yankees, Mets, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. It was WWE.
That's
NWA.
exactly how I was. I really didn't even know the NWA until the 90s because of no internet. I really wasn't into tape trading yet. My first experience with Harley Race is King Harley Race from the WWE.
Sure.
Like, I didn't even know he was an 8-time NWA champion, 3-time AWA tag champion with Larry the Axe Hennig. It's when I finally discovered that, I was like, whoa, this guy is a whole different ball game. And, originally, I remember, my favorite match of Harley's was him and Haku at the Royal Rumble, 89. I don't know why that stands out to me, but it was like King versus King. And then I discovered Starrcade and all that.
So your first initial Harley Race experience was the watered down Harley Race, right?
The WWE, and back then, they'd come in and obviously, Vince, as he kind of does today, there is no other wrestling but WWE, which look, it made him billions of dollars, so you can't argue the man.
So here's an interesting thing, right? Harley Race wrestled Bob Backlund, Bob Backlund, obviously,
of
WWE
course.
guy.
Yep.
One of the reasons Backlund held on to the strap, from what I read, for as long as he did, is because Vince Sr. was in fear of guys like Harley Race taking, it was a big move. If someone from the NWA beat down your champion for real and took the strap, it could be curtains for your organization.
Oh, forget about it. You hear tons of stories about that, like Sheik getting paid to break Hogan's leg, maybe in '84. But to show how tough Race was, to your point, when I think it was Ric Flair used to say, when Flair would go over to Japan for NWA, Harley Race would go with him just as his bodyguard.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the card. He was just their bodyguard. And, Harley Race is one of these guys where he almost had to go out to the local bar, cause a fight, and he won each and every time.
Absolutely.
It was ridiculous.
We have guys in there all the time. Back in the old regional days, they talk about that. The promoter would say, "Hey, go out, have a fight. Make news for us. Brings the crowd. But you lose, you're fired." Well,
not only that, but also with kayfabe at an all-time high at that point, you had to show how tough you were. You couldn't back down. Back then you could punch someone in the face and not worry about it. But today's day and age.
Well, I'll tell you too. With you must have heard the story about Harley Race when the WWE was taking over all the regional territories. They went into St. Louis, and Harley Race actually had a pistol and put it on Hogan.
I heard about that. Yes.
Right. So you get
a lot of those stories. It's crazy. It was a Wild West back then.
Well, dude, I gotta tell you, when I was in the military, I was at a wrestling show. I went to the bar afterwards, and it was a hotel bar. Wasn't looking to find wrestlers, but who happens to be there? Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, who was in this station.
Yeah,
actually punched me in the face not too long ago.
And you had to show your toughness, your worth.
But Haku was there.
Oh no!
And you could see that guy was a scary dude, man.
He kind of almost still is. We ran into him. Me and my friends ran him outside one of the Hall of Fames, and even just in passing, you're like, can we go up to him and ask for an autograph or a photo?
Right.
I don't know if we should. But if you think about it now, two of the toughest dudes on the planet was Race and Haku, and they had that match.
Oh, yeah.
At the Royal Rumble. I also, because again, growing up, I was all WWE. One of my biggest, fondest memories of Harley Race was the Slammy Awards with him and Hacksaw Jim Duggan beating each other up in the back, all over the place. You get to the makeup area. There's everything flying, all the boxes being pushed onto him and Bobby Heenan. I think about that today. I'm like, that's, for a man who's so tough, I think he was able to have a little fun as well.
Oh, absolutely.
With stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But he's definitely going to be missed. I mean,
top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time?
Absolutely. He's in 3 Hall of Fames. He's in the NWA, WWE, WCW. Like I said, the accolades of championships, 8-time world champion. Wow. He is at least top 5.
So kill me for this. He wouldn't be, as much as I don't disagree with you, he wouldn't be in my top 10.
Okay.
But again, I wasn't a Harley Race guy. I wasn't an NWA guy. I wasn't a huge fan of his work, to be honest with you. I didn't go out of my way to go watch a Starrcade, you know what I'm saying? But again, can't put down Harley Race, right? One of the greatest wrestlers of all time, the NWA champion when that was the championship belt.
Yeah, before Flair took over the face of NWA.
Sure.
It was definitely Harley Race. And do you maybe count that as, again, growing up with WWE, there is that style that WWE had versus NWA, which was like, I'm not going to say pure wrestling, but it was definitely more wrestling than what WWE was. And maybe that's what you were used to.
I
think that's how it was for me.
Maybe, that's a really good point. I think maybe it has to do with he just wasn't, he was a tough guy. Yeah. And it wasn't the character. And, I got more interested in the NWA through Georgia Championship Wrestling and obviously Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. And then I got turned on to Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. But again, look, can't argue the point. Harley Race is one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
The world's going to be missing him. And I'm happy I had the opportunity to at least shake the man's hand. And I got to tell you, I waited about 2.5 hours. That was probably the longest waits to meet somebody. But
worth it. A friend of mine actually said he's probably, as soon as he made it to the gates of heaven, St. Peter goes, "Welcome to heaven." And Harley Race goes, No, St. Peter. I'm welcoming you to heaven.
That's pretty funny. But then I was like one of those assholes that has to post my picture on my cover of me and Harley Race.
Oh, of course.
Just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
The Harley Race pictures were flowing out.
I absolutely would. Please, God help me once Hogan finally passes. I'm going to be a mess. I'm going to have photos all over the place.
Dude, I might cry on that.
I will.
That's a tough one.
That was
I don't want to forget the anniversaries of 2 other greats, Nikolai Volkov and Roddy Piper. Thoughts?
Piper has been a couple years now, I think.
Yeah.
Volkov has been 1 year, and I just met Nikolai Volkov, at this point it would have been maybe like a few months prior at a convention. He seemed fine. He was doing good. We talked a little bit. I got him to sign the old plastic figure.
Right.
So I got him to sign that, and then he gave me some comic book about him or his father leaving Poland during the Nazi regime or something. I'm like, whoa, all right, this is getting deep.
Yeah, right.
But he was the epitome of the bad guy, especially back then when you can have a bad guy that represents
it's funny.
The climate.
But I always hear about the heat him and the Sheik had, like how many people hated him. I never hated those guys. It was funny. Look, they were the bad guys, but I hated certain guys.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hate them,
but sometimes you like to hate them. It's almost like the hate. Well, because that's what they're trying to get. That's the heat they're trying to get. But in a climate during the Cold War, there was no one better than Nikolai Volkov, and he even said he loved playing that heel character as a Russian because he wanted to show kind of like how bad they were in there. Because he was Polish, right, or something? No, I don't think he was Russian. Ukrainian?
Probably Ukrainian.
I think he was from Jersey.
That too.
It could be that too.
That too.
The Jersey Ukrainian.
And Piper.
Well, real quick on Nikolai. you know, you got to give that guy a lot of credit too. Remember, he was in the Bruno era.
That's
then
true.
he moved into, you know, the Backlund era, and then into the heat of wrestling. That guy's longevity is...
No, you're right. And then he had that weird stint in the $1 Million Corporation, which was kind of odd. I felt weird. But, you know, he really was part of... He was even part of Bam Bam Bigelow's All-Pro team at WrestleMania 11.
That's right.
Fun side note. Do you know instead of LT, that was supposed to be OJ?
Did not know that.
Vince actually wanted to reach out to OJ Simpson after the trial to get him at Mania.
How hot would that have been?
That would have been, I don't know.
See, now, the story I heard, and not saying my story was right or wrong, is the story I heard is OJ was supposed to fight Piper.
At WrestleMania.
At that WrestleMania where
12?
Goldust filled in.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be it was supposed to be OJ, Piper, then it was Goldust, Scott Hall. Scott Hall was in studio. He basically said that he was, you know...
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, and Shingad, and so you end up with Piper Goldust.
Which ended up being a great match.
How about Piper?
Piper, definitely one of the top guys. If it wasn't for Piper, it wasn't for Hogan, I don't think you would have a lot of the popularity that still exists today for wrestling, because Piper was in the middle of that rock and wrestling connection, that rock and wrestling phase. No one else could have taken that gold record and bounced it off of Captain Lou's head better than Piper. He was the heel of all heels who never won a world championship. I mean, he won the Intercontinental title, but I'm talking about like the World Heavyweight title. And the fact that Hogan never pinned him or made him submit for an era that was Hulkamania, that says a lot about Piper. And he went way too soon. Well, they all do. But.
Probably, you know, I've seen Piper a million times, but probably one of my favorite match in my top 5 matches, which we covered on the show in the past, the War to Settle the Score. I was there live.
Oh, were you?
I've been to the Garden a million times. I had never seen the Garden that lit, and going afterwards never saw it. The crowd was at a fever pitch for that match, and when I watch that match over, I still get the goosebumps because the way those two sold that match. It you know, this is when you felt like you knew it was fake.
Yep.
But you felt like they hated each other.
Hey, I don't hear that.
But you know what I'm saying. But
no, you're right. There are still a lot of matches that just get the goosebumps going, and you know, it's Piper. You know, you think nowadays what Piper could have done, especially when Ronda Rousey hit the scene,
right?
Because Piper gifted Rowdy. You know, she asked him, "Is it okay for me to use the term Rowdy?" He said, "Yeah." You know, go back and you can listen to that podcast of Piper's podcast when he had Ronda on. I mean, you can only imagine what they could have done. Maybe I'm sure he wouldn't have been her manager, but they could have definitely done some amazing stuff. But you know, again, another one, that toughness. What was that one promo we did where he breaks the bottle over his head?
Sure.
And just gushing blood, and it's like he doesn't even blink at it. So another. They go too soon a lot of times, and it sucks. It just totally sucks. But,
no, it does suck. I want to quickly go through some of our events that are coming up, Larry.
Okay.
Let me see. We've got David Sammartino in studio Saturday, September 21st from 3 to 4. David Sammartino, son of former living legend Bruno Sammartino. They have some sort of had a strained relationship, and I think David this is a very rare appearance of David.
Okay. I'm happy that you're able to get him.
I think we'll be able to reveal some stuff, and I think it should be a very interesting interview. September 22nd, we have none other than Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who you mentioned earlier. Hacksaw is in studio from 10 to 11 a.m. And then on November 14th, we've got none other than Glow Hollywood in studio. I know Mr. Savali's looking forward to that.
I may have to stop by.
You watch the Glow series on Netflix?
I love that Glow series on Netflix.
How great is that series?
Season 3 is coming out, I think, this year. It has been
Starts
amazing.
August 12th.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, you could just watch the whole thing August 12th, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Binge watch
the hell out of that,
absolutely.
Right? So were you a Glow guy growing up?
No, I was young, so like to watch Glow would almost be like, I mean, it wasn't anything gratuitous, but like I feel like I'd have to turn the lights out, close the door, make sure my parents didn't realize I was watching.
That's what I was.
That's how I watch it now. But you know, going back and watching the Glow, and that was definitely like if no offense to Glow, but if you didn't realize that wrestling was choreographed, you definitely knew watching Glow. But that was the.
But dude, I had fun watching it. I watched it. It was Channel 11.
Yeah.
Right. I watched it every week. It was awesome.
That was the best part about it.
Friday, November 15th from 7 to 8 p.m. I got you screwed up there, Savali, on a Friday. Don't forget, we've got Buff Bagwell.
Buff is the stuff.
I'm really not allowed to announce this, but I am going to announce it.
All right.
Too Cold Scorpio will also be in studio, and if anyone knows the history between Too Cold Scorpio and Buff Bagwell, these two really don't like
That's
each other.
That's going to be interesting, and Katie bar the door.
Also, my co-host for that event on November 15th is none other than Hillbilly Jim. Will be sitting in the chair where you're sitting right now. That is
awesome.
So it'll be Monte and Hillbilly Jim Pharaoh.
Yes.
That
Jim Pharaoh.
Hillbilly Jim Pharaoh.
You know what? I'm sitting here. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm sitting here right now, and I feel a little out of place. I feel a little odd. Okay. You know, I feel like I just need to...
Before
you even touch him.
Before you even touch
also,
him.
let me get him into camera.
Putting those on your face with great power
comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
All right.
I actually knew that line.
Oh, okay. I was just checking. I got.
Are you sure?
I'm going to try.
All right.
Oh!
Whoa!
Wow! Whoa. Woo. All right. I'm ready to go.
Oh, he's ready.
I'm ready to go.
Wow.
This makes things look now. Now I feel like I'm part of it.
Sure, go right ahead.
I could have missed this, but did we miss the Brutus the Barber?
No, I'm coming up on Brutus right now.
I cut him off, so.
Oh, because you went backwards. Isn't that in October?
That's in October. I'm a little screwed up.
You kind of messed my head.
I know. I'm sorry, bro. October 27th, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. You know, some big names coming in here, Larry.
No, it's all right. No, I love Brutus Barber Beefcake, my favorite theme song of the 80s.
And September 22nd? Bill Alfonso will also be in.
I almost had an opportunity to interview Bill Alfonso one time.
What happened?
On an old podcast I did, just kind of fell apart, that's all.
Why?
Probably a little bit of my part, a little bit of the group I was doing it for. Nothing bad, just wasn't working out, so kind of moved on.
All right, before we start getting into wrestling, I just wanted to say the new Monte and the Pharaoh theme song is sung other than Aquacherry, who was in studio. Aquacherry could be seen on Spotify, Pandora, and iTunes. They have such songs as Bleachin', Yes, Yes, and the Monte and the Pharaoh theme song, Straight Up. You got to catch them. Great band.
Was that the best live performance we ever had in this studio?
Ever had.
Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
And I got to tell you, Larry, I don't know if you like to go around and see these independent bands.
I do. I want to. I started.
Bring them here.
Try to follow them. Try to follow them.
Literally, like behind them.
Well, you could, or just come to Village Connection where they play right there in the corner.
Told us they'll play for our show every week.
There you go. Okay. A live intro. Oh man.
Real band.
Look out. All right, man. Raw happened.
All
what
right,
are you thinking?
Let's do
hear
this. Oh, man. So, Monday Night Raw, coming off of tremendous, weeks of wrestling, I personally feeling with Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff now having more, I guess in charge of the shows, it's getting there. I feel like it's been a better production value. I feel like they're trying to get into the matches quicker.
Did you think the Lesnar beatdown was a bit gratuitous?
I was going to get into that, but we can jump into it right now. Yes, and it needed to be.
Okay, go ahead. Why?
Well, first of all, you got Paul Heyman running Raw, so it almost makes sense.
Right.
With how Brock Lesnar just tossed Rollins around at WrestleMania before their match, and then Rollins comes back, low blow, 3 curb stomps, wins Universal title. All right, cool. Look, I was there. The place was awesome. But Brock is a monster, and Brock has to show that he's a monster, and Brock has to prove that he's this not barely a human being, as he is the beast,
right?
Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, and to bring up that violence level in the WWE that we haven't seen in years because of the PG era,
right?
You got the blood coming out of Rollins' mouth. You got the F5s onto the top of the chairs, which is a very dangerous move to do, even
Absolutely.
as a professional. And then the part where I thought Brock was literally going to kill Seth Rollins when he whipped him out of the ambulance. And I think even Rollins, there was probably a look on his face like, oh shit, this is going to suck. I hate Brock Lesnar as the Universal Champion.
Do you really?
I don't like part-timers as champion. But it's showing that Brock is becoming unstoppable, and how in the hell is Seth Rollins going to beat him coming up at SummerSlam.
So how the hell is Seth Rollins going to beat him at SummerSlam?
I think it's going to take more than a low blow and 3 curb stomps. And that's the beauty. I don't know how Rollins can do it. And I don't think Rollins knows how he can do it.
So coming off the reunion, which did over 3 million viewers, right? The Raw and SmackDown this week, very low ratings. What's going on?
You know, it's...
Is it so now Lesnar, when he used to put the strap around him, as much as you hate the part-time champion, you would always see a spike in ratings.
Yeah, I get it.
Surprisingly enough, this week...
I think probably what happened was everyone heard of the Raw reunion, and you probably got a lot of people who haven't watched Raw in a while going, oh, you know, Stone Cold's going to be on, Hogan's going to be on.
Right.
Let me tune in. Unfortunately, I was actually busy. I actually missed the Raw reunion, sadly. Twice,
did you watch
it the next day.
Did you end up watching it, though?
I watched bits of... Yeah, I watch highlights and stuff like that.
So I guess that's my point, too, is you could catch this anytime. It's not must... We keep saying this. This is not must-see TV, right? If you got something to do on a Monday night, go to the network.
Correct.
You can watch it the next day.
Well, I mean, you got 30 days with Raw and SmackDown, but I hear what you're talking about. Like, I don't have a DVR, but if I had a DVR, I could have watched it.
Right.
And yeah, I watch a lot of clips on YouTube. But to me, when I watch wrestling, if it's taped, even if I'm watching for the first time, like when SmackDown was taped, I'm like, I can just catch it later.
Right.
There's something about knowing that it's live. You're like, I have to watch it right now. You know, like the urge to watch it then and there. As opposed to...
This is the problem I have. Back in the day, you didn't know what you were going to get, right? You turned it on, you had to watch it. We're kind of programmed now to watch it. If you're a wrestling fan, you probably programmed to put on USA Network. Mm-hmm. But if you ever look, right, you could go on Sunday and go to 38 at 8 p.m. Or 8:05, whatever time it starts. Yeah. And you get a whole rundown of what's going to happen on Raw. So it's already like, you know what's going to happen. So it's like, I'm not really going to miss anything.
But that also happened in the past, you know, when the internet first came out or like was really hitting its stride, all the spoilers would come out. I remember reading the spoilers. I'm like, all right, I don't have to catch this now. I mean, I'd still kind of watch it.
Right.
But like in college, I'm like, all right, I got some stuff to do. And then when I stopped reading spoilers, it changed it. For me, I'm like, this is a much better program. But, you know, it's going to... I think the ratings are going to fluctuate for now. I think it's going to be more word of mouth, where people are like, all right, you have to start watching Raw, and they don't need the gimmick of a Raw reunion, even though it was fun. I'm optimistic. I just have faith that as time goes on, people are going to watch more and more as Raw and SmackDown gets better, and it's going to help come August.
I also think they're trying to play to the younger audience because they're trying to build the fans of the future.
Yes.
Right? Where they don't want to. They're not really playing to me anymore. Hey, if you want to watch, but I'm playing for, maybe guys your age and younger, right?
They've always done that though. The Attitude Era.
Sure.
Attitude Era was totally I'm not trying to bring anyone down in the room, but I was in my 20s during the Attitude Era, and that was my time. That was the sex and the violence and the cursing and the middle finger. That was cool back then. Right. And that was cool my age bracket. And you're right. I think they do cater to a younger audience. I think now they're trying to get like to the late teens.
You got to build the fans for the future.
Absolutely.
You can't rely on
even
though their demographic still is 40 to 60 years old, because we just don't tend to leave.
And also we got the money to be able to go to these shows and watch it and everything.
Yeah, sure.
But also it's I said this a couple weeks ago on my Facebook page. It's also the fans, I think, that also sometimes ruin it. When I was at Raw at Nassau Coliseum, and they had, all right, fine, the women's match that night, not the best match, but I mean, just the crowd would not let them up. Change the channel.
I will never sit on a floor, watch from a floor again.
I hate
useless. People really don't watch. They got their signs in your face, whatever.
None of that. They're constantly, filming. I don't want to watch through my viewfinder.
Now, what I'm thinking, SummerSlam main event, I've posted that on the Monte and the Pharaoh page. Got to go with Charlotte, Trish Stratus, old versus new, Evolution against Attitude Era.
Toronto, Trish's
hometown. Why they don't put the strap on Charlotte before this match? It's a mistake in my mind. This could be a main event of main events.
It could be. Yeah, she still got it. Yeah. She can still go. She at the Rumble, at Evolution, she still shows for someone who's in and out on the show. Main event, though, I mean, it's not like Hogan's coming back when he main evented against Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, was at WrestleMania. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can be. But I think after what happened on Raw, I think the Universal title's got to be the last match of the night. Just how that's being built up. Plus, Charlotte and Trish are going to have technically 1 week to build on their story because they just announced it this past Tuesday.
Right.
Which in today's day and age, a lot of the story building is happening on social media, which I don't mind.
Right.
I like it a lot. Becky, I think, is the best at that. But I think this is more just kind of fun. Toronto, Trish's hometown. Let's bring her back. Have a good time. And with Charlotte, it's gonna help her no matter what, whether she wins or loses. It's gonna help her.
You can't see Charlotte losing this match, right?
I can't see Charlotte losing, but if she did, it would be she's hit rock bottom now, and now she has no choice but to build herself back.
To come back.
Exactly. That would be the only reason why she should lose.
I got to tell you at this point, that was a problem with the reunion, right?
Okay.
They got to start giving their roster bigger rubs. And again, having Trish beat Charlotte does nothing for anybody.
Not at all.
You got to keep Charlotte strong, right? She's going to bring new fans for you. She's already considered, at least in my book, is the greatest women's wrestler of all time.
She's definitely up there. I mean,
Who would you put in front of her?
That's what I'm trying. Actually, I would probably put Trish, in their prime.
Right.
I would put Trish. So yeah, we're talking two number ones.
Yeah.
But again, if Charlotte loses, it's only to build her up again. But yeah, it wouldn't make sense to bring a Hall of Famer back.
No.
To do that, or at least not that big of a name. And some other matches on SummerSlam that I feel like Trish, inadvertently, she's not doing it on purpose, but because of Trish and Charlotte, I think we're not getting Shawn Michaels and Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam. Because then why have two Hall of Famers on the show?
Wow. Well, you're going to get Goldberg, Dolph Ziggler, aren't you?
Yeah, he at some point, I get it because he keeps calling out Goldberg, for having that terrible match in Saudi Arabia.
I'll tell you what, SummerSlam is built. It looks like it's gonna be a hot show. I mean, I love all the matches that are going on. I mean, does Natty get over and win the belt?
She did. The last time she had a title match at SummerSlam, she beat Naomi, and she's definitely worthy of the title. I hope Becky wins. I still wish she had both belts, but that's a whole other story. But I think Becky definitely over Natalya. I think Natalya at this point she's over 10 years in the company.
Yeah, way over. Right?
So, I mean, she can still go, but I think at this point it's good for her, for people to go over on her. And I think it's going to be a good match. Hopefully they make it a submission match. I doubt it, though. But hopefully they do make a submission. I think that would be really good for the two of them.
Well, every Sunday here on Village Connection Radio, we have the Evan Ginsberg Show from 11 to 1 p.m. And we have a segment we started last week, Larry, which is called Evan's Rant.
This is for Evan.
Evan's Rant of the Week. So, Evan, as everybody knows, Evan is pro wrestling. I consider pro wrestling's best kept secret.
Okay.
He's been associated producer of The Wrestler and associated producer 350 Days. The Wrestler being one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wrestler was awesome.
And 350 Days, I don't know if you caught it.
I unfortunately haven't seen it. I do want to see it.
It's
unbelievable.
I just
haven't had a chance to yet.
And that also could be bought on iTunes. But the one great thing about Evan is Evan goes on rants, whether it be political, religious, whatever. There's a wrestling show. I always keep it be wrestling.
Of course.
And no means. I always want to have the guest weigh in on Evan's.
If it's what I'm thinking of, I think I already did.
Well, no, it's not that one. We're staying clear
fair
about
enough.
that.
Then, all right, I'll put
if
this
I
away
pull
then.
that out, all right. Have you ever met Evan?
Personally, no.
He's really a great guy. You heard it here from Monte. Anyway, here's Evan.
Okay.
It's 6:33 a.m. and they're still waiting for CM Punk to return. It's kind of like Beckett's waiting for Got It. It's 24/7 thing for fanboys. Thoughts?
Well, their dreams are somewhat coming true at Starrcast 3 during All Out Weekend because Punk is going to be there doing an interview. I think.
Well, first I want to know if you know what Beckett waiting for Got It is.
No, I was going to try and skip that part. I have no idea what that
so
means.
I actually
it has to do something with a book.
I actually looked it up.
Okay.
And it's these two Russian guys
okay.
that are waiting for this guy Got It who never shows up.
I guess he didn't got it.
They didn't get
Ew.
it. So it actually got a 3.8 out of 5 stars, so it must be a decent book. But
Okay.
Anyway, Evan using his high intelligence on us. But anyway, weigh in.
It worked.
How do you feel the fact that, do you think it's wrong that people are so into CM Punk, or do you think it's something to be made fun of?
I think it's the cool thing to be a part of, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I equate it to the whole going to the show and just chanting for the sake of chanting Cena sucks, because at the end of the match everyone cheers for Cena when he wins.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not counting the people in the crowd who chant CM Punk. They just do that to do that. But there are fans. I'm for one. I would love to see Punk back in the ring. I mean, I'm not clamoring for it. I'm not praying he's going to show up at All Out. But
he shows it at All Out. Does he change the landscape of professional wrestling?
I think he does, because this is a man who basically has, short of his name, has all but removed himself from the product, and his wife, him and AJ Lee.
Right. Who, by the way, hinted that maybe one day she will return back.
Oh, listen, never say never in this business. That goes without saying. But I think Punk, with him even showing up at StarCast 3 in Chicago, his hometown, is a start. He's putting his foot back, into the pool after 2 highly unsuccessful fights in the UFC. I think maybe, does Punk think that he has to return to wrestling? If he does,
he's up there. He's 40.
He is, but listen, 40 nowadays is a lot different than 40.
So again,
30
going
years
back
ago.
to Evan's comments,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
You've got, there's the wrestling
Crazy
world
fan.
where there's no stars. CM Punk may be the only real true star left.
The real true star we haven't seen in a long time. You're right. I think.
So as a fanboy, do you know what a fanboy is?
I'm very much
A fanboy.
a fanboy.
You got the Alexa Bliss shirt.
I
You got
do.
the American Made shirt.
I do.
Nothing wrong with
You
being a
just saw the
fanboy,
belt.
right? That's
Yeah,
what supports.
that-
You got the weed belt, which is good.
Yeah.
Nice.
You could smoke that belt after, Jim.
Maybe not that one specific. Some of the other ones they were selling, maybe.
So your thoughts? Do you disagree or you agree with Evan's comments?
I disagree with him only in the fact that, well, you know what? Now that I think about it, the fanboys, there are some fanboys out there who just go above and beyond and almost ruin it for a fanboy, like to be a fanboy.
Right.
Those guys are a little too much. Like, you get the guys in the audience who purposely find that seat in the front row, like that asshole who used to sit front row dead center at every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view in the green stupid winky shirt and the tan hat, and every day I wish he got hit by a car on the way out of the arena.
So that's the
for
ultimate
5
fanboy?
years. For like 5 years, every show he was dead center.
I almost feel like a fanboy is like you're just like a sex slave or something like that.
That's a whole
I mean, serious. It's like, ooh, be my fanboy. I don't know.
the ones that actually wave you, wave a fan.
All right,
Yeah.
20. You agree? Disagree?
It's weird. I agree. I'm not trying to be like down the middle political. I both. I think Punk coming back is what's needed to really shoot this whole thing in the arm. But at the same time, the overzealous fans who are waiting outside of his hotel room night in and night out, they kind of ruin it.
Well, we could always write the revised novel, Waiting for Punk.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? What do you think?
I like it.
All right, 24/7 title, man. We got our first pregnant champion. Thoughts?
Ugh, I can't stand Maria Kanellis right now.
Go ahead. Why?
Well, at first I thought, like, on Twitter and Instagram, she'd be all like, "Look, no offense to mothers, everyone, but
Everybody's got a mom.
everybody's got a mom. People get pregnant. There's 30 billion people on this planet." But she makes it seem like she's the only woman in the world who's ever had a baby. And now, through the brilliance of Vince McMahon, because he's the only one that can make something positive into a negative. Like when Punk was straight edge and he was a heel. Now Maria is like, I'm pregnant, which is beautiful because no one's going to beat her up for it. No one's going to pin her for at least 8 months. And she's got the title.
It's brilliant.
It's genius. And she's going around shoving it in everyone's face. I'm a mom. I'm the champion. I'm pregnant. I'm the champion. It's like you want to slap her, even with the baby inside of her.
Oh, my God.
The 24/7 title, I think, it's weird. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I hated it when it debuted. Then
I agree. I hated it when it debuted.
Then I learned to love it because R-Truth made it.
Fantastic.
And then I hated it again when all you saw was people just running after R-Truth.
Which was
I'm like,
annoying.
there's a lot of guys in that group who don't deserve to chase after that.
Yeah.
But then I loved it again with R-Truth and Drake Maverick. Made it awesome. So now I'm like, you know what? It's a fun, like, ha-ha moment, almost like a break in the action. Good, the title's not going to mean anything in the long run, but it's just fun to have and fun to trade between wrestlers.
It's levity.
Yeah, that's exactly. And there's nothing wrong with levity in professional wrestling.
I agree. That's what it was made of.
Absolutely.
And I got to tell you, the whole Maria skit, I think it's a home run. From the way she treats her husband, to her now winning the title, it's awesome.
I love it. I wonder if it's a way, though, do you think they're trying to maybe keep it off of TV for a little while?
I don't think so. I think somewhere along the way, someone's going to pin her while she's in some kind of
Me
stirrups
too.
or
That's what I'm
something,
thinking,
right?
too.
All right, so let's talk about Renee Young. I just want to read Renee Young's Twitter feed. Okay, here's the truth. I know I'm not great on commentary, but it's my job. I try to get better each week. People love to tell me how bad I am at it, and as I think I'm great at it. Should I just quit? What would that say about me? Not easy to learn a skill on a gigantic global television show. Weigh in on Renee Young, please.
She definitely has a point. The Twitter was designed for people to go after celebrities, and I've been part of that. But that tweet that Renee got when someone just like, you should get off the air and stuff like that, which is funny because I tweet Byron Saxon almost once a week telling him to get off the air. But with Renee Young, she shot back and she made a good point. She did a little commentary in NXT, but that's pre-taped.
Right.
Except for the takeover that she did. But that, again, it's NXT. But on Raw, which is a much bigger crowd, and she's definitely learning on the go, and everyone who's ever done commentary for Raw and SmackDown has always complained about Vince screaming in their ears while they're talking.
Sure.
So it's a terrible test of multitasking.
Well, I think the trio, first of all, I think it's much harder to work as a trio than a duo. I don't know why they keep force-feeding trios. Trios do not work well.
I agree with
It
you.
doesn't work well on podcasting, television shows, anything. So if you want her success, put her with a duo where, think about the great duos, Monsoon and Heenan. Right?
Monsoon and Heenan, Monsoon and Ventura, McMahon and Heenan.
McMahon and Ventura.
JR and the King. I mean, it's
So, might be a little young for this, right? But back in the day, I had McMahon and Patterson. Patterson barely could speak the language.
That is
but
true,
I got to tell you, he was good.
No, definitely. I watched some matches with them commentating, so they were definitely good. And you're right, and also back then though, you got away with a lot of not having to know anything and everything, and going along.
You had McMahon and Bruno. Bruno was not a master
Bruno,
at the
yeah.
mic. Okay,
Savage.
but he still was good.
Savage even did it for a
But
while.
I thought Savage was excellent. I thought Superstar Billy Graham. I thought was excellent.
But you're also naming wrestlers who are already part of it. Renee Young. She's married to a wrestler, and she was in WWE for a while, so she, through osmosis, she's going to learn the company.
So who are co-partners right now? It's
Michael Cole and Corey Graves.
All right, so Michael Cole, you got to probably feel that Michael Cole is one of the great announcers of all time. I know people hate him and whatever. Your opinion on Cole?
I don't rank Cole as one of the top play-by-play guys.
Been around a long time.
He has, but he's a total...
And had one of the great runs as a heel.
I couldn't stand that as a heel. No, it was different. Don't get me wrong. I like the idea of a heel play-by-play guy because we've had heel color commentators.
Right, sure.
But just something about Cole. He's such a company guy that he just reads verbatim every line almost that he has to say, including at WrestleMania when Shane jumped off the Hell in a Cell. You can see him on the network. For the love of mankind, giving a shout out to Mick Foley.
Yeah, right.
He's broken in half. So I'm not crazy about Cole, but he's a company guy.
It's time to move him, transition him out like they do, right? And you put Renee Young with who's the other guy you just named? I forgot.
Corey Graves.
Corey Graves, who by the way is fantastic, right?
He's one of the but between the two of them, I don't know who would do play-by-play. That's the whole thing. I think you can put Renee with a play-by-play.
You put Renee play-by-play, and you have
really?
Corey do color commentator, or do it the other way. I don't know. All I'm saying is if you want to build her, you got to put her with a duo. You can't have three. She's getting overrun by these guys.
Yeah.
She's just, like you said, it's probably men saying, say something, for the love of God, say something already. You know what I mean?
But I think she's doing fine. I think she's doing fine. I like how her and Corey interact with each other. And that's fun.
Yeah.
So
give her a chance.
Absolutely.
I've always been a big fan. I like her. I don't think she's god awful. People rip her apart. I don't think she's that bad.
I like her more. She's the closest to Mean Gene as far as a backstage interviewer that they've had in a long time.
Okay.
But transitioning her to the color commentator, we're gonna give her time. Just let her work. I got to do. Whoever tweeted her, let him go behind the table.
And for you younger guys out there who have never heard McMahon and Patterson together, go to the WWE Network. Go see the old school matches. Patterson's hilarious.
Going banana.
You're going banana. You go banana. Meet me in the back room.
Oh.
Jey Uso, drunk again.
I'm shocked he's not tag team champion. I thought he was going to win the titles at that point. At what point do they go, all right, look, now you just being a nuisance to yourself, a danger on the road, and you're not really, sometimes when you work at a company, you got to have some sort of policies even outside the company to be, representing.
No, but do you think it's WWE's responsibility to punish him for this?
I think, he was pulled over as a DUI. So, look, it wasn't a DUI is terrible, don't get me wrong. Maybe come off of TV for a little while. But last time again, they won the titles the next day. They won the tag titles the last time this happened. So at what point, does Vince say, all right, look, now we just gotta prove a point at this market. I think he should. I think he should been maybe suspended for 30 days.
You think that with AEW looming in the background, they're just afraid to do anything because talent leaves, go somewhere else.
I think it's becoming a threat, definitely. With Moxley is the biggest example.
Dude, so let me ask you about Moxley, right? So you bring up Moxley. You were an Ambrose guy?
I did like Ambrose. I think he was my favorite.
Would Ambrose make you go to Madison Square Garden and go watch a card?
It's not just. I know that's very old school. To me, it's the entire card.
I'm tired with the old.
No, that's fine. I like that. I like the dichotomy. The dichotomy? I don't know. I can't speak. One person. Well, it's a lie because Ronda Rousey got me to go to the Garden last time.
One person could get you to the Garden.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair could get me to the Garden. Probably not. Ronda Rousey would get me to the Garden.
Ronda got me to the Garden.
Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. He's a filler to me. He's a filler, and it's amazing that. Oh, now he goes here, and people are crazy to see him. Look, let's not get out of control about that whole thing. They really don't have stars over there. Cody Rhodes is not a star. I'm sorry. Jericho's a star.
Absolutely.
But he's an old star.
Okay. Right? He can still go. He's 24 years, I think, is going to be the anniversary when they go live for the first time on TNT. That's his anniversary date of starting. But I gotta disagree with you on that. I think Cody made himself a star. I think he was one of the hottest free agents when he was with Ring of Honor, when he was with New Japan, even when he was in TNA for a little while. I think Cody is a big star. I think the Young Bucks are a big star. Kenny Omega was one of the biggest stars, and they are showing that you don't need WWE to make a living. Forget AEW. Even before AEW was a thing, the Bucks and all them. They were making their money on the indies and Ring of Honor. I don't consider them indie. But now with AEW, they're going to be, once TV starts October 2nd, when they emanate from Washington, D.C. in the Capital One Arena, and that first match goes, Cody versus Sammy Guevara, I'm telling you, I think at that point someone, because Vince isn't going to watch it, but someone's going to go, hey, Vince, I think we're going to have to start keeping an eye on AEW, just like we did with WCW.
So you got that opening match with Cody, right? He'll be opening TNT, but then you've got Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and two mystery partners. Who are the mystery partners going to be?
I don't know. I think it's going to be someone new who will debut for AEW. Now, granted, that's going to be like their 1, 2, 3rd, or 4th show by the time wrestling show by the time they get there. But I think it's going to be someone new. I don't think it's going to be someone from WWE. I just think it's going to be a big tag team. Maybe like from the indies. I'm trying to think who on the indies though. Who has
who's going to draw that attention?
I'm trying to think. Unless it's someone from Ring of Honor that just, like the Briscoes or the Gorillas of Destiny. I can't really think of who it could be yet. But I think it's going to be someone new.
So you're trying to attract a group of people to come watch AEW. Now, obviously, people are just going to watch just to watch. I'll watch just to watch. In fact, I'll tell you what. I watched that AEW, which you bitched at me about for posting it free on the site, which is just unbelievable. Jimmy sitting there complaining to me like, give him some views. Fuck that. I'm putting that shit on my site.
It's a free one, though.
Yeah, it's I'm putting that shit on my site. I had like 10,000 people watching on my page. That's damn right I'm going to put that shit on.
I'm piracy. I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. Piracy alone.
But I get it.
But what, you're promoting two mystery partners, right? Mm-hmm. It's got to be something big.
It's got to be
You
something.
got to hit a
big.
home run, right?
I think they're going to. Look, Double or Nothing was an absolute home run. I'm going to say it right now. Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen, they were both free shows. I think they just threw them out there for people to be like, hey, look, if you couldn't pay for Double or Nothing, here's what we have to offer.
Right.
They were both good shows. All Out's going to go back to the $50, which, look, $50 pay-per-view, that's what it used to be. We're all used to $10 pay-per-views. Guess what? They used to be $50. And to pay $50 every now and again for their pay-per-views, I'm fine with.
Meanwhile, I'll just go to Facebook because someone will.
And I'm going to do my best to report you.
I'll be like, hello. God, you going to report me? That's fucked up.
In a heartbeat.
Bastards.
I'm going. It's the last time I'm seen here, I guess. I think AEW is going to be perfectly fine stepping into their first show from Washington, D.C. on October 2nd from 8 to 11 on TNT. No drama. I think AEW is going to be the viable feud for WWE, and competition always breeds creativity. I've always said the greatest thing that happened was Vince buying WCW. The worst thing that ever happened was Vince buying WCW, because it just made it stale. So AEW is going to kick Vince in the ass.
Sustainability, man. Anything in life, right? Sustainability. You could show me your first show, do well. First of all, they better. What arena they have it in? Like a 2,000 person arena?
No. It's the Capital One Arena. I think it's. I don't think it's like a huge arena, but it's definitely.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Whatever they're doing, the first show probably will sell out, no problem at all.
Yeah.
After that, they better do their TV tapings in 1,500 man arenas, because you don't want to see empty seats. Going with this new product. Sustainability in life's the most important thing. And again, the WWE is a sustainable product.
Absolutely.
Right?
Look, I'm not putting all my eggs in the AEW basket. I have high hopes for AEW. And so far, to me, they're 3 for 3. Let's see what happens weekly, though. You're right. We'll see what happens. Let's give them like a month. We'll take, because I don't know where else they've only announced the one show so far.
All right.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
I'm going to watch it. I'll be watching
Good.
TNT. Any last thoughts? We're out of time.
Oh, already?
Already.
Good Lord. It was, time flies when you're having fun. Thoughts? No, just, watch wrestling. Watch it all. You're allowed to like multiple companies, and that's what's great, because you never know what's going to happen. It's all great. Even the bad stuff is sometimes fun to watch. But we got some great shows. All Out. Remember, All Out, NXT TakeOver UK Cardiff, and New Japan Pro Wrestling in England are all on the same day. August 31st is like wrestling day. So be on the lookout for that, because that's going to be a busy, busy day to watch wrestling.
Absolutely. You got SummerSlam in 2 weeks.
Which I almost had tickets for. Almost.
I can't believe you're not going. I'm in shock.
I'm actually doing, I'm going to plug it real quick. I'm actually doing an expo, Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, with my podcast, The Retro Gamers. We're going to have a table there. We're going to be live streaming, podcasting. We'll have some monitors and systems set up. So if you want to try out the games you bought and they don't work, go back and ask for a refund.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, one thing you can depend on is sustainability. Is Monte and Pharaoh, seen every Thursday from 8:05 to 9 p.m. only here on Village Connection Radio. Don't forget the upcoming events: David Sammartino, Hillbilly Jim, Too Cold Scorpio, Brutus the Barber, Beefcake, Buff Bagwell, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Bill Alfonso, and the list keeps growing on and on and on. Larry, it's always a pleasure having you.
I love being here, honestly.
Sir, we
Thank
love
you very
having
much.
you. Your knowledge is top notch.
I try to keep it up, but it's so much happening. It's starting to fall out, but I'll do my best.
Hang in there. And you know what? Look, the other thing is, no one likes their job. Just always remember that.
I love my job. I love it.
Wow. Kissing ass. I'm Monte and Pharaoh. All right. We'll catch you next week. See ya.